Hello, welcome to the next episode of Two Girls Talk Transits. Today we're going to review the astrology from January 5th through January 11th, 2026. And we're your host, I'm Maddie.
And I'm Kaylee.
So this is our big week that we're kind of going to start off with. And we usually do break down each week or each aspect as it goes exact on the day, but because of this very powerful and annoying and loud triple conjunction, it's not
hmm
going to be feasible or useful for you as well to hear that or to try to distinguish it because they're all going to be involved. So starting on the 6th and probably the 5th a little bit too on the Monday and Tuesday of January, that first week is when the sun will first meet Venus. Venus will meet Mars, and then the sun will meet Mars. But you can see that they're all conjuncting right there at like
hmm
16, 17, I think is when they're all going to exactly conjunct, but around 16, 17, 18 degrees of Capricorn. And we get a really powerful, loud triple conjunction. And we technically have like a stellium in Capricorn with Mercury. So honestly, you really just want to really look closely to wherever Capricorn is. Like that's where all the intention is. That's where all the energy is. That's where your drive, Mars, what you want to attract, Venus, and then your ego and your identity is in. And all of those are like coming together to like, to me, Cardinal is always like starting something that like some big project or some big idea or some big change in your life. And then it's very good for New Year's energy, but I think it is a lot of work as well. It's Capricorn. How are you feeling about this triple conjunction this week?
Yeah,
These
I
three
can
days?
definitely
Yeah.
can definitely like feel the Capricorn energy already. Like as we're talking
Yeah.
about this, let me look right now what like the current transits are. Yeah, I mean, we already have everything there besides Mercury. So we already have this like full force Capricorn energy and we have, a lot of things like focused on long-term goals and um, like Maddie said, especially related to where you have Capricorn in your chart. And I think like this triple conjunction is just going to like amplify that energy. And there's just going to be this huge focus on that area of your life, which is also bringing into play the houses that Venus rules, the houses that the sun rules, the houses that Mars rule. So you're going to get like just this big desire to focus on these major areas of your life, and um yeah, I think there's with Capricorn energy, all ruled by Saturn, we're thinking long term, we're thinking of planning and me and Maddie were reading before this. Maddie has this book of like
It's
conjunctions. Go ahead.
yeah,
Yeah.
I will read it. Actually a lecture that Austin Coffitt gave in Norwalk. It was like a workshop before the Norwalk conference about triple conjunctions. There's a whole debate in astrology that triple conjunctions should be treated differently than stelliums, which I now agree with, but Mars and Venus together is a fun, scandalous, influential, and getting in trouble. But then adding the sun makes it charismatic trouble or desiring too much, wanting to have too much. The sun can build a reputation and build a career, and it has magnetizing energy, but a lack of self-control, not being very careful, not risk averse. It can create enemies. It's very much a mixed bag and a keep it in your pants. Don't be distracted by passion. And reputation can be very loud, big, and mixed. So, like, it's like, Venus Mars is always that really big, like, celebrity energy. They're like
Yeah.
passionate and they're attractive, and you want that, but they're not lazy, which sometimes Venus can be like alone. And
hmm
Mars alone can be too aggressive and non attractive. But then throw the sun in there, it's like your ego gets caught up. So it's like whatever this is, you're starting in Capricorn, whatever the houses that are being affected, and it's like it's so important to you that you're willing to take some big risks for it or some big jump for it. But like it can also be, hey, too much. Like Mars is so strong here.
hmm
Like we can't
Mm-hmm.
forget its exaltation. Do you notice that like
Mm-hmm.
we're driving forward so fast that it's like can be bulldozing energy.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely like you mentioned, like some of the things that I think was highlighted in that thing is that I think kind of we can be so focused on a goal or something like we have to realize that with the sun there, all of this is like ego driven. Like, how can I make myself feel better about myself? Bringing in like my desires and my,
Hmm.
willingness to achieve my goals. Like, yeah, we just have to realize that like we can get a little power hungry, I think, in this moment. So
Mm.
just being very aware with that strength in Mars, like how much are you willing to push forward and how much are you willing to like bulldoze over people or bulldoze over other things to like achieve what you want on like an ego level. Um so yeah, I think it's a very much like a flip side of the coin thing. Like I think it can be really wonderful energy. It just does have a ceiling. Like it's like if you do have the possibility to overdo it, you know.
Yeah, it is like I like the idea that like you could, after we get past the first, we know like the first Mercury was squaring Neptune. So like when Mercury enters into Capricorn after the first, after that full moon in Cancer, like it is like beautiful energy for getting work done, for like really tapping into this powerful Capricorn stellium we have going on. And like being also excited about it. Like Venus and Mars do make things exciting. And like
Hmm.
this is thrilling to do this, but it is like I don't know, like I see it as like it is very positive, but it's like, are you seeing the picture clearly, or are you just doing all of this to achieve something? Is the purpose behind all of this clear? And like the potential for burnout too, like just overdoing it for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like people, any of us who are like workaholics, it's definitely
Yeah.
giving workaholic. Like,
Right. Yeah.
like, yeah, we just have to be careful. And I think that's where this like we're gonna talk about that later, but this opposition to Jupiter is gonna really come in
Yeah.
because I think a lot of us are going to be like more focused on work and achievement than we are going to be focused on like home and like nurturing ourselves and our bodies and things like that.
Yeah, and it's almost like a philosophical opposition. Like sometimes I feel like a lot of the Saturn rule placements or the Capricorn placements, they get into a habit of doing things because like that's just what they've always done. But like again, like if we just go to work and go to work and go to work and go to work without any real clarity or purpose or vision behind it, which is Jupiter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, then what are we actually doing? Like, we're just becoming a machine, right?
Yeah.
And like, that's so deeply capitalism. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I might as well just move into the opposition with Jupiter, unless you have the things that you want to add
No, yeah, I
there.
think that's like so relevant though to like what we're talking
Right.
about. Yeah.
Because that's my only pushback with Capricorn is like, I feel like when Pluto went through Capricorn, which was a lot with the, financial crisis and also a lot with like COVID was a big piece when we were having eclipses in Capricorn with like Pluto and Jupiter there and all of that. Like, and Mars was there too. Like, Capricorn really does show us in society like our biggest structure that we live under. And right now it is capitalism, it is production. And
Hmm.
like we're seeing that in our own country right now with like our GDP is supposedly going up, but like that's because our government is spending so much money. Like the people aren't
Hmm.
spending any money. We've like cut back on our spending, but like the wealthy, the top 5% are spending all of our money, and that raises our GDP, and that's like highlighting this dysfunction in the system. And
Hmm.
like, so Jupiter comes in after the stellium, this triple conjunction goes exact, or starting on the 9th with the Sun and Venus, which is that Friday. So it's like this full work week is like this hyper Capricorn traditional work. And then on the 9th, 10th, and then this weekend is when they go opposite um Jupiter. I don't know if you want to progress that in
Oh
the
yeah, I
chart.
can definitely.
That's okay. Um, but yeah, that and then I think this is where like the opposition comes in, like kind of the crisis of like, now where it's like, what am I doing? Right? Like I'm doing all of this work to do it, or I'm participating in this system to participate in it to function. But like Jupiter has been expanding what it means to have more like comfort in our home or take care of ourselves, but also like understand why we like what is the real purpose in life. Like I feel like Jupiter in Cancer has been like really big on showing me how connection, Cancer is like so important for us versus like cold, hard financial reality
Hmm.
sometimes.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
I don't know. I've been going on a tangent, but what do you want to add to that?
No, no, it's totally fine. No, I think like everything you were saying was definitely right. I think, yeah, I think it just speaks to like what I had mentioned before and what you already like reiterated. But yeah, we just have this like moment where I think where it's like capitalism versus home and comfort. Like, what are we willing to risk and what are we, yeah, like our focus is so much on, like you said, capitalism and being part of the system. But there is a part of us, and I think a part of all of us that just like desires to be and exist and be in community and be with each other and, enjoy like the comforts of life. Like, Cancer energy is very much like a home cooked meal and like
Yeah.
spending time
Loved
with your, yeah,
ones.
with your
Yeah.
grandparents and like,
Right.
it's like things that sometimes seem like luxuries even more or like now because of like the society that we live in. And I think that very much speaks to like Jupiter and Cancer is like it's like a desire, it's like this
Mm-hmm.
thing that's like outside of what's accessible at the moment. That we're kind of like almost fantasizing about, like, oh, it would be so nice to just like spend time at home and spend time with my family and like, you know, call my grandma on a random day and see how she's doing and spend time with her, but I don't have time. Like I'm so busy wrapped up in this like rat race that like I don't have time for the simple like comfort homey pleasures of life. And anytime there's an opposition, it's like energy is moving in two different directions. And I think like that Jupiter is like housing like our, like I said, like our desires, like what we want, like what we fantasize about. So yeah,
Yeah.
but I think so much is being spent like on the doing of the other things. Yeah.
Well, like Cancer is memory, right? So like
Hmm.
Jupiter is expanding that memory of like the comfort, the nurturance you received as a child, or like the feelings of like when things were better, the nostalgia, And
Right.
so like it's almost like again, kind of going off of what we see in our own American centric view, but like we're being told that things are looking good for the system. The system is functioning as it should, and we're progressing so well. Look at all this work and output that we're making. But it's like Jupiter's like, but that doesn't align with my memory of like feeling good or how things felt good, or like what
Hmm.
it was like to have my needs met and nurturance. And like, actually, I'm like missing all this joy of slowing down and tending to my feelings versus just constantly producing. So it is a little bit of this like, it is just interesting because all of this planets in Capricorn definitely progress us to something, but then it's like we reach some sort of internal or maybe external crisis of like, oh, I don't actually want any of this. Like, this is not
Yeah.
fulfilling.
I think it's both. I watched this documentary the other day too, and I think this is relevant also because I think, um, Cancer is ruled by the moon, which also rules children. And I watched this documentary about this. It's called The Birth Gap. And it's talking about how not only in the US, but in every major industrialized country in the world, they have decreased birth rates. Um,
Mm,
and I think that it might also, this opposition, I think it speaks to this a lot. Like, I don't
yeah.
think people have time to have children. And, children are also kind of getting lost in the sauce and,
Yeah.
in the system because their parents aren't home with them. And, it's like this just disservice that's being done to like, children in general. And,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I just think that this could also definitely like speak to that.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think it's like this really grand unfolding because I mean, it's this January is really this like kind of month where we're transitioning from like previous outer planet placements, slowly going to move into the new outer planet placements that are not going to come back to here. And
Hmm.
like there is something about like the last kind of push of the system being like, no, I'm still working. Trust me, like, like buy into this. And Jupiter is just kind of expanding that that's not the truth anymore, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think it's especially relevant to the Jupiter's retrograde right now. So,
Right.
yeah, I think that is part of the picture too, like reviewing what our desires are and things like this. So, yeah, yeah, I mean, I think to put it in like a nice little bow, there's like a ton of, energy with work and stuff, but it will be at what cost, you know? We will be like
Yeah.
reflecting on other earthly pleasures, that do come for free. Home,
Hmm.
like besides we have to pay for our home, right? But like family and like connecting with your children and having children and things like this, these all come for free. And they're often the things like at the end of our life that we're like, I'm so glad that I got to do that. Not like, I'm
Hmm.
so glad I like worked 40 hours a week, and never had a break.
Right.
Yeah.
Never gotten a debt. Congrats. You did it.
Yeah,
You won't.
literally. I never got out of debt. Yeah. I like been indebted my whole life and somehow worked
Yeah,
every single
I
day.
won't be
So
dead now. Yeah, like
I
enough
don't
with
think
the whole.
that I don't think slavery ever ended. This is like a separate discussion. I just think
No,
that they like roped in everybody. They were like, you know what? Let's just enslave them all so that
they
nobody
don't know.
knows the difference. Yeah. So anyways.
You can never like you when you own your home, you still gotta pay property taxes. You never own it.
Exactly. Yeah, literally.
But yeah, I think this is gonna be this whole week. Like you're gonna, there's not gonna be a day that we can pick out. It's gonna be all soupy and all just rough, but just kind of notice those vibes as they come up. Um, yeah, and then we'll the end of this week and then like carrying into next week on the 11th. So like just on Sunday, and we'll carry that into the next podcast next week is then this stellium's going to start squaring Chiron,
Yeah,
starting
I
with
don't know why I didn't.
Venus.
Sorry, I don't know why I didn't draw it the whole time. I like completely forgot about that. But anyways, go
Yeah, that's
ahead.
what I was trying to kind of hint at, but then I
Yeah,
was like,
but I still
it's
didn't do
fine.
it.
You were just like, okay, I'll progress it. I was like, it's fine.
Whatever, yeah.
It's all good.
Anyways,
It's fine. It's pretty obvious. So, it's not like, yeah.
I think I was like, well, I see it,
Yeah.
So,
Um,
anyways,
yeah, so Venus will start be the first planet. She's going to be moving the fastest, and the Sun, Mars will trail behind. She'll square Chiron first. So again, I think I touched on this last week when Chiron stationed direct, and Jupiter's been squaring Chiron. Now there's a little bit more separation between Jupiter and Chiron, but just the womb with all of this, the womb with constantly being productive or constantly having to fight. I think sometimes Chiron, I feel like is showing us that too, like especially with a stationary direct, like how much longer we have to fight for what I want or what I need or what is better for me, and like the wounds just associated with everything we talked about with the system and
hmm
home and the separation that we feel between the two right now.
yeah, I think that's like very fair, delineation. Yeah, to say, and like you said, like all these planets, we're not going to talk about them all. We're just going to talk about Venus because that's the week's end. But
Yeah.
all these planets will eventually move into a square. And, Venus being the first one there, I think is just like that conflict with like what our true desires are with like you said, like Chiron being ruled by Mars, like the actions we're forced to take to exist.
Yeah.
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 Um, so yeah, and I think too, we go from Capricorn, like everything's in Capricorn right now, and then we eventually will progress everything into Aquarius. And I think right now is like very much the like work that has to be done and the work that we have to do to exist into society. And when things progress into Aquarius, it's all about like how do we do things differently so we don't have
Yeah.
to exist in that like freaking, what do you call this? Like just really harsh, predictable, like state, like having to be so stable sometimes this world that like requires us to be like you mentioned at the beginning, like robotic, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think
Yeah.
that that's an interesting thing too.
Yeah, Capricorn is definitely the tradition, the things of how things have always been. It's conservatism, right? It's like this is how it's always been. This is the traditional path. This is what it was built upon. And Aquarius is like, we need to reinvent that wheel. And
Hmm.
yeah, I think Chiron just in this position and Chiron's long transit through Aries. So, like Aries is about, and especially in modern astrology, like about autonomy and self. Like they put it as like the
Mm,
first. So I
yeah.
think like Chiron has definitely been the womb of our autonomy because we have to play so hard in the system right now. And Pluto entering in Aquarius too is kind of speaking to like how the system is being disrupted through AI now. And like it's getting a little bit worse. And I think things will get worse before they break. But
Yeah, but think about it too. Like eventually if AI progresses so far that like a lot of jobs get taken away, then people like,
yeah,
it seems like terrible now, but let's think like further into the future. Maybe it ends
yeah.
up being like a thing that's actually good
At
because
least
we're
saves
not,
us.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
not having to just like constantly be these workhorses. And, maybe we eventually find a way to function in society that doesn't prioritize work constantly.
Consumerism. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's possible in our lifetime, but
No,
hopefully we
I don't.
can suffer so that future generations don't have to. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is interesting, and it's just all of this is like coming to a head. I don't know. I would definitely be interested to see, like, I do think most of this is going to be kind of personal with like these
Hmm.
are more personal planets, but
For sure.
that's what happens with the government around this time. Just will be
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was like another thing that's important to mention is like Capricorn is very much speaks to like government systems and government structures and
yeah. Or just
yeah.
systems and structure in general. I mean, I associate a lot with corporations too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but larger
Yeah,
corporations, capitalism
yeah,
in general, like this is
yeah.
all very Capricorn energy. So yeah, I think it's important, like, just be careful not to turn everything into a business deal. Like, chill
Yeah.
on that for a minute. Like, and don't forget to like actually connect with people on like a human level. I think that's like what can be missing sometimes with Capricorn energy is like everything turns so much into like, what am I going to get from this? What am I going to gain from this? That you don't like
Right.
have normal human experiences and forget to like regard each other as like human.
Yeah, and I think that the opposite, that's the Jupiter and Cancer piece.
For sure. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
it's just crazy.
Mm-mm.
I don't know. This will be a big week. Just take care of yourself. Really pay attention to where Capricorn and Cancer are in your chart, and that will give you an idea of what is coming up and like what you're being pushed into. And, just go slow. Don't get carried
Yeah,
away.
you probably won't, but
You won't go slow, but I'm telling you to try.
yeah. Right. Take it day
I
by
know.
day.
I was like, go slow. Ain't nobody going slow this week.
No,
Everyone's gonna
yeah,
be like running around like crazy.
bro.
Uh,
Yeah. Maybe trying to make that money back that we spent on Christmas.
yes, maybe you can make some money. You can channel it.
For
You know,
sure. For sure.
I that's actually a good one to think about.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like there is going to be, like I said, the reason I said
Hustle.
don't turn everything into a business deal is because things are probably going to be very
Yeah,
much like
yeah.
everything
The
is a
hustle
business deal.
culture is gonna
Yeah.
pop off.
Yeah, bro.
All
Yeah, if you're
right.
trying to market to anybody in this time, I don't
Yeah.
know, be interesting to kind of play with it. Like what speaks to people more at this moment? Like do you want to try to talk to them about business related things or talk to
Yeah.
them about like what it is they're missing, which is like home
Their
related
emotional
things. Yeah.
relation thing. Yeah.
Mm.
We'll have to
Where's
see.
the pain point? Yeah.
Yeah. If you want more content from us, we're on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube at Two Girls Talk Transits. And we'll see you all next week.
See you.
Mm.